The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. This lesson contains 11 characters, 8 of which are based on the pictogram of a bone. This is not our first encounter with bone, so I'll start by reviewing characters from earlier lessons that contain elements of it. Let's first review 鬲 from lesson 51, which depicted the process of scraping flesh from bones with a knife. Originally, the bones were drawn as jointed arm or leg bones, but eventually replaced by the shoulder blade of an ox. This shoulder blade was heated until cracks formed, these cracks becoming the basis for interpretation and prediction, the origin of the expression 占卜, to divine. 鬲, the scraping of flesh from bones, came to mean separation or distinction, a difference. Our first new character is simply 鬲minus the knife, pronounced fourth tone, 令, 令. It represents the bare bone itself, now completely separated from the flesh. In English, this can be translated as separate, other, or besides. Another etymology for 令 is simply what it looks like, a mouth, 口 above 力, a plough, together indicating that a person, most likely a man, with the physical strength to feed himself. In other words, he can now strike out on his own, live separate from his clan, and start another family. That gives us two very different origins for 令, but the same end result is separation, something beyond. One of the most common expressions is 另外, meaning another. 明天不行，另外找个时间聚一聚吧。Not tomorrow. Find another time for our get-together, okay? 这间屋子跟另外一间相通。This room is connected to another one. 另外 can be reduced to simply 另。爬东西的是另一个男人。It was a different guy who picked your pocket. 就事论事好吗？你哥是另一回事。Don't change the subject, okay? Your brother's situation is a different matter entirely. 另眼相看 is a four-character idiom. It means to see someone in a new, more favorable light, or treat someone with special consideration. Literally, to look at someone with another eye. 他的创作使大家另眼相看。Her creative works made everyone view her in a different light. 令 can also be followed by a verb, often resulting in a common idiomatic phrase. 您要的样品说明书另寄。The instructions you requested for the samples will be posted separately, or mailed under separate cover. 开会的地点另行通知。The location for the meeting will be announced later. Literally, will be notified separately. 他想开我的车子去，他另打主意吧。If he thinks he's driving my car there, he's got another think coming. 这个工作我不行，你得另请高明。I'm really no good at this. You'll have to find someone more qualified. 会计今天不来了，听说他另有高就。The accountant didn't come today. I hear she's landed a better job elsewhere. Remember that 就 started out to mean to come near, move towards, which was extended to mean engage in some endeavor, such as schooling or work. And finally, to accomplish or achieve something, as in the phrase 成就. So here, 高就 refers to a higher position or better employment opportunity. Before continuing, we need to learn the base element alluded to in both 别 and 令, that is, the actual pictogram for the shoulder blade bone of an ox, pronounced in one of three ways. Third tone, 寡, or first tone, 郭, or 歪. There's no need to learn this element per se, because it never appears alone, but always in combination with other radicals. Usually, as a phonetic, it will add the mouth radical, which was an ancient character signifying a cleft palate, resulting in a hair lip, in which the bones of the mouth fail to join properly before birth. That little factoid explains why there's a mouth under the bone pictogram. Anyway, this is a useful element appearing in characters referring to the skeleton, or otherwise inserted as a phonetic. The second and third characters in today's lesson are composed of the tree or wood radical plus an abridged version of 寡, the same version that appears in 别 and 令, only this time it also serves as the phonetic. A hand radical was often substituted for the tree or wood radical, resulting in two overlapping characters, both pronounced third tone, 拐, 拐. Today the wood radical version refers to a crutch, staff, or cane, while the hand radical is used for the verbal meaning of turning or changing direction, with the related concepts of kidnapping or swindling someone. Notice that the last part of the phonetic can be written in one of two ways, either connecting the next to last stroke for the modern simplified character, or not connecting it for the traditional form, similar to the two ways of writing 别. Here's an example of 拐 as a verb meaning to turn. 走到街口，往右拐. Walk to the next intersection and turn right. By combining both meanings of 拐, a crutch, and changing direction, is one way to describe a person who is limping, their body's turning movements when walking with a crutch. 乞丐在街道上一拐一拐地走着. The beggar limped along down the street. It's also easy to understand how 拐 can mean to swindle or run away with something, since 令 is part of the character, meaning to separate flesh from bones, and in this case to separate a person from their valuables. 财主的两个员工拐走了他的名画. Two of the millionaire's staff absconded with a famous painting of his. Although I didn't prepare an example, 拐, meaning to kidnap, is a logical extension of forcing someone to change direction and go with the kidnapper. The fourth character in this lesson is the everyday character for bone, showing its evolution from connected arm bones to the eventual shoulder blade of an ox. The flesh radical was added to emphasize that a bone is a part of the body. This character is pronounced third tone, 骨, 骨, in most phrases, but second tone, 骨, when speaking colloquially about just plain bones. You can tell that someone is talking about just plain bones when it's paired with unstressed 头 to create an easily recognizable noun, as in the next two examples. 他连骨头都吃. He even eats the bones. 河流的水冰到使我的骨头麻木. The river water was so icy cold, it numbed me to the bone. Now the following examples are all third tone, 骨. 她个子不高，小骨架. She's short and of slight build. 火化后的骨灰2天内可取回. The ashes, or cremated remains, may be retrieved 2 days after cremation. 你朋友跟我有骨肉相连之情. Your friend and I are as close as flesh and blood. In other words, he or she is like a family member. So, be careful how you treat them. The phrase 骨气 refers to a person's moral integrity, along the lines of English, having a backbone. 他是一个有骨气的男子. He's a man of moral integrity, with great strength of character. Today's fifth character takes bone as phonetic and matches it with the water radical, creating second tone 滑, 滑, meaning smooth or slippery, with a metaphorical sense of crafty or cunning. The third tone pronunciation 骨 is only found in one expression that I know of, and is usually considered to be a joke. It simply proves that bone is truly the phonetic. According to some etymologists, the bone was chosen not only for its sound element, 骨, but also because the outer surface of fresh bones really is smooth and slippery. Both meanings contained in this character. 滑倒 means to slip and fall down, somewhat like 跌倒, but caused by walking on something slick, such as oil, water, ice, or the proverbial banana peel. 要小心，不然你会滑倒的. Be careful, otherwise you'll slip and fall. 滑雪 means to ski, and 滑雪道 is a ski slope. 滑雪员从山顶直直地滑下去. The skiers skied straight down from the top of the mountain. 好几个滑雪者在滑雪道中央打架. Several skiers were fighting in the middle of the ski run. In mainland China, but not Taiwan, to ice skate is 滑冰, and figure skating is 花样滑冰. Just as there are vocabulary differences among the various English-speaking countries, the same situation holds true for Chinese-speaking communities. Usually, this causes no communication problems. 听说你的侄女迷上花样滑冰. Somebody told me your niece is crazy about figure skating. 光滑 is an adjective meaning smooth and glossy. 滑冰时，我最怕闪亮又光滑的冰. When ice skating, I'm most afraid of shiny, smooth ice. That means I must be a beginner and prone to falling. One of the newest and most frequent uses of this character is 滑手机, meaning to scroll or flip through images and text on one's mobile phone. Speaking as someone who didn't grow up with cell phones, here are 2 sentences expressing my view on their use. 朋友相聚的时候，滑手机多没意思. Out with friends while glued to one's phone seems totally meaningless. 情人一面吃一面滑手机，不是奇景. Lovers eating while engrossed in their phones is a common sight, Really, what's the point in eating together? Since 滑 means smooth and slippery, it's a natural extension to describe people as slick, wily, or cunning. Here's a 成语, or four-character idiom for just that type of person. 滑头滑脑. This idiom is often shortened to just two characters. 滑头. 这人滑头得很，别听信他的话. The guy's a real sly character. Don't listen to what he says. The sixth character in today's lesson is again the water radical, but with the gua phonetic. It's usually pronounced first tone, wo, wo. It has a second pronunciation too that adds a G sound, guo, but this is restricted to the name of a river, Guohe, in China's Henan province. This character means swirling water, as in 水涡, and appears in the expression for a turbine, 涡轮机. These phrases may not seem too useful at the moment. However, you will soon understand why I've introduced it, because it helps to explain the following one. Our seventh character combines the snake radical from lesson 16, used in ancient Chinese for all animals, with the previous character 涡 minus the 3 water drops. In other words, it's a land animal whose spiral shell looks like a swirling eddy of water, the snail. Usually pronounced first tone, gua, gua. Although the dictionary also lists first tone, wo, as an alternate pronunciation. To say snail in Mandarin, however, we need to add niu, gua niu, since modern Chinese prefers double character words to avoid any misunderstanding caused by the superabundance of homonyms. Don't be surprised by the addition of cow, niu. Languages have lots of odd combinations like this. For example, in English we eat hot dogs, which have nothing to do with dogs. Here are two example sentences. 下雨后，瓜牛都爬出来了. The snails all came crawling out after the rain. 为什么法国人吃瓜牛？瓜牛多吗？ Why do the French eat snails? Are there a lot of snails? The eighth character today originally looked like the three-legged cauldron we first encountered momentarily in 煮, the character meaning to boil or stew, but which was later discarded. Apparently, some people didn't like that ancient pictogram with a rare phonetic element on the right. So, a more popular version was created with a metal radical plus gua phonetic. It's pronounced first tone, guo, guo, and means a cooking pot, pan, or a cauldron. As we've seen many times before, single character nouns often add unstressed z to make them easily recognizable as a noun. So the general word for a pot or pan is 锅子. 开小火，要不然锅子一定着火. Keep the flame low, otherwise the pan will catch fire. 电锅 is that essential Chinese kitchen appliance, the automatic electric rice cooker. 家家户户都少不了电锅. No household can do without an electric rice cooker. 锅巴 is that crispy crust of rice that sticks to the bottom of the rice pot. It's so tasty that it's become a menu item in itself. 锅巴成为中国很流行的点心. crispy rice crust has become a popular Chinese snack. Especially popular during the colder months is the hot pot or fire pot, 火锅 in Chinese. Slices of meat, seafood, and vegetables are swished around in a shared pot of boiling soup, and then dipped in various sauces before eating. 天气凉了，吃火锅的聚会就多了。Chilly weather means there'll be lots of hot pot dinners. The idea of everyone having their own plate of food is considered a Western idea, because the Chinese have traditionally used their chopsticks to pick food from a shared dish in the center of the table. However, Western food is everywhere, so now restaurants put extra pairs of chopsticks on the Chinese banquet table so that food can first be transferred to one's own plate before using one's personal chopsticks to put it in their mouth. Although the communal pot of boiling soup inevitably kills any and all germs, many people have taken to the idea of each person having their own smaller pot of soup, which seems more hygienic. This is called 小火锅. 小火锅很卫生，因为一人一锅. An individual hot pot dinner is more hygienic, with each person having their own pot. No sharing. 我请大家来吃羊肉火锅. Let's all go out and have lamb hot pot. My treat. This lesson originally had only 8 characters, so I added a new number character, which is easy to write and also can be used as a phonetic in a few characters. Today's 9th character started out as an arm with a little half circle to accentuate the elbow, its original meaning. Because its pronunciation was similar to number 9 in the spoken language, this character, without the half circle, was borrowed to represent the number. The elbow, however, retained the circle. So today the character for 9 is pronounced third tone, 九, 九. The elbow character was not chosen at random, just for its sound. The elbow is the turning point of the arm, and number 9 is considered a numerical turning point, where the following number 10 is indicated by moving to a new column, the tens column on the abacus. This has cultural implications that I'll mention later, but first, here is number 9, as in the 9th month, September. 9月聚会时间另行通知. The time of September's meeting to be announced later. This reads like a written notice or message. You may remember from lesson 22 that the number 10 was originally a single vertical stroke, indicating finality or completion. Its earliest form was a stick with a black mark in the center, which eventually became the horizontal stroke. That's why 十足 means fully or completely. Number 10 evolved into 丁 in the character 成, giving it both its pronunciation and its meaning, to reach completion, achieve success, or become something. So, 九成 is 9/10 or 90%. 我有九成把握他是来找麻烦的. I'm 90% certain he's here to cause trouble. The next 2 sentences contain idiomatic versions of this phrase. 十之八九 and 十有八九. In English, we would commonly translate these as highly likely or most probably. Literally, 8 to 9/10 or 80 to 90%. 他十之八九不会来了. It's highly unlikely that he will come. 十有八九 她失信了. She most probably won't keep her word. Our next character, the 10th today, shows what happened to the character for elbow. The bent arm with a line indicating the elbow was miscopied as 寸, a hand with a short line indicating the area below the thumb, the point where traditional Chinese doctors diagnose a patient's internal state by taking their pulse. To show that the elbow is a body part, the flesh radical was added on the left. This character is pronounced third tone, 肘, 肘. Obviously, the number 9, 九, was the phonetic until it was miscopied. Here's one example. 他用手肘就能打开门把. He can open the door by turning the handle with his elbow. Sounds like he was carrying bags of groceries. The 11th and final character takes number 9 as phonetic and pairs it with the person radical. It's pronounced second tone, 丑, 丑. This character demonstrates an interesting take on marriage down through the ages. It originally meant spouse or partner. But number 9, 九, also means a turning point. So the modern meaning is one's enemy, foe, adversary, and as a verb, to feel hatred and hostility. The divorce rate in many countries is now nearing 50% of all marriages. So familiarity apparently does breed contempt over the long run. Here are several examples of this modern usage. 一个仇人太多, 百个朋友太少. One enemy is too many, 100 friends too few. 你们两个人之间有仇吗? Are you two feuding with each other? 他们之间有刻骨的仇恨. There's a deep down hatred between them. It's literally etched into their bones. 他因为恨之入骨而追逐手刃仇人. Profound hatred made him chase down and stab his rival. 生日聚会时，他刻意地请我仇家来. He deliberately invited my enemy to my birthday party. Here is our color chart with today's 11 characters. 鼓, 划, 锅, 刮, 令, 拐, 窝, 拐, 酒, 愁, and 肘. Here's our recap from today's lesson. 1. 8 of the 11 characters in this lesson contain either the full or partial bone radical. Extrapolating from the familiar 别, we created 3 new characters. 令, meaning other or besides, and 2 similar characters pronounced 拐, one meaning a crutch and one referring to the limping movements of a person on crutches. This up and down limping movement is reminiscent of English crooked, which also appears in the Chinese use of 拐 to refer to kidnapping someone, literally forcing them to change direction. 拐 is also based on 令, which originally meant to separate flesh from bones. so this naturally enters into the meaning of to swindle, somewhat like the English expression, a fool and his money are soon parted. 2. The basic pictogram, incorporated into all bone-related characters, gua, is not a standalone Chinese character itself, but enters into the composition of the bone radical, or the phonetic elements found in today's characters. 3. The single character for bone is usually second tone in gu tao, but third tone gu in all other phrases. Third tone gu tao is also perfectly acceptable because it's taught that way in school. 4. The bones of freshly butchered and cooked animals have a smooth, slippery feel to them. The origin of hua, as in hua xue, to ski. Slipperiness naturally can refer to slick, cunning, or wily people. 5. Swirling water, such as in a whirlpool, is wo. Admittedly not the most useful character, but it does seem to have contributed to the composition of snail, guanyo, with its spiral shell. 6. A cooking pot or pan is now a phono-semantic compound of meto plus phonetic gua. Anyone familiar with Chinese cooking will have seen or used one of those round-bottom cooking pans called a wok. English borrowed this word from Chinese guo, or more specifically, its Cantonese pronunciation, wok. 7. Number 9, jiu, does not contain the bone radical, but it did originate as the elbow joint in its earliest written form. Since number 10, shi, implies finality or completion, as in the expression 十分, 100%, number 9 means we are approaching the end of single digits, a turning point in counting. 8. The fact that 9 is also a turning point means that many superstitious Chinese will skip over this number when giving their age. For example, when I was 69 years old, my Taiwanese friends told me not to say I was 69, but rather to say I was 70 instead. Why? Because of this concept of 9 as a turning point, any age ending with a 9 is a possible crisis point, and I might suddenly be summoned to depart this life by the ruler of the spirit world. This may be one reason why Chinese people traditionally are not very much into celebrating birthdays. The Chinese may not be particularly religious, but superstitions lurk everywhere. In the number of strokes contained in specific characters, the position of furniture, doors and windows in your home or office, the choice of auspicious days for weddings, funerals, buying, selling, or moving house, and many more. We Westerners have our number 13, black cats, knocking on wood, and astrological signs, but the Chinese take it to a whole new level, labeling it not superstition, but tradition. 9. Number 9 being a turning or crisis point, it also connotes extremeness. So the ancient character for one's spouse or partner, chou, evolved into its modern meaning of enemy or foe, the extreme opposite of what a spouse or partner should be. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.